guys know him by now. Brett Taveau, author of Unpacking Greatness, a Chiefs book you can find on Amazon, longtime offensive coordinator. Brett, this week we're going to break down not offense, but defense, because defense is what led the Chiefs to a 19-8 victory over the Broncos. A couple of interceptions, but some really good details we can go into that led to these two plays.
Absolutely. I mean, that Broncos offense, I know, they had only won one game and had to come from behind in the fourth quarter to get that done. But the offense, from a number standpoint was pretty good coming in. So as you said, just a really, really strong performance from the Chiefs defense.
We're going to actually start with Nick Bolton's interception, and let's go ahead and walk through this one, Brett, and kind of a big play by Bolton on this one, and we kind of walk through his actions on this particular play.
Sure. So the Broncos are coming out. They're in a 12 personnel tight end wing set, and they're going to run a play action, 3-man play action concept, really. So they're going to, have a lot of protectors. And so Bolton does a really good job, as you have noted there, reading the hat level offensive line and not staring at the quarterback and the running back. When offensive linemen are running the ball, generally, if it's whether it's a zone or a gap scheme, they're firing out more. Their hats are a little lower, and then in protection, in order to best position themselves to protect, their hats are naturally higher because of the technique. So he does an excellent job reading those high hats.
Yeah, you see those guys pop up. It's probably a pass that they're trying to keep guys from coming there. And we see because of that, Nick Bolton not only is a step ahead here, he's definitely a step ahead here.
Yeah, he knows right off the bat he's not getting sucked into any play action fake. So, Jesse, I know you had spoken to him a little bit about this.
Yeah, well, actually, it was in the post game when he would talk to Mitch Holthus of the Chiefs radio network, and we'll go ahead and keep playing this thing. But he said he watched some film study from the week before when he did not play. I would assume that'd be Chiefs versus Vikings, and he said he'd seen a route combination like this. He called it a cafe route. I wanted to ask you about that because you said a lot of times coaches try to make things pretty simple. They throw things together, so maybe cafe is curl flat, that sort of thing. But we see here the Broncos try to get to this curl route, and this is the one that Bolton picks off.
Right, and he does a really good job of, I don't know if he baits Cousins, or I'm sorry, not Cousins, that was last week, Wilson into this throw, because you can see him kind of level off and give square hips and kind of check the back right there. He's kind of checking the back, and I don't know if he's communicating to Tranquil. As you said, he talked with Mitch Holthus, and they were ready for this from a film study standpoint. So I don't know if he's seeing that back out and communicating then before he drops vertical to get underneath this curl throw.
As you said, he drops back, elevates. And the one thing, again, I don't know this for a fact, but I did go back in the Minnesota tape, and there was this play from the week ago that the Chiefs had, another curl concept. And we see Drew Tranquil kind of steps up here to stop Kirk Cousins, and that ball goes over his head on the curl. So this might be the play that Nick Bolton was talking about. But again, this was a play where the linebacker did not get beat. Nick Bolton was there for the interception and made sure that this one did not happen.
Yeah, and it very well could have been a point of emphasis, just from a general technique coverage standpoint. It's natural when you're messing something up in a game, even if you're not necessarily going to see it the next week, or you're certain you're going to see it the next week. But defending curl flat or curl routes, getting under those is something that any defense does. So it's very, very possible that was a strong point of emphasis in practice.
A lot of times we don't see how the play would have turned out if Nick Bolton's not there. I mean, this is a 27-yard gain for the Vikings here by KJ Osborne. So potentially this is what it looks like if Nick Bolton doesn't do that drop. He does, and obviously it's a big play for the Chiefs defense. Let's go ahead and get to the second interception here. And this one's a little bit different because it comes not from the secondary, but mostly from the rush.
Right. So Denver here is in empty. Looks like, from the to the trip side, they're going to run what I believe is going to be a slot fade. But because Snead's playing outside leverage, the number 2 is going to kind of convert that just to a seam, because that's what the space Snead is giving him. You're going to have a hitch by number 1 on the outside, and then a stick route by number 3, which that's who Wilson targets, end up getting picked. But as you see, when you're in empty, you've only got 5 protectors, and the Chiefs are, of course, they've got 6 walked up, so they're showing that they're bringing pressure here. So what Wilson has to do basically is slide the protection one way or the other because somebody's coming unblocked, and you don't want that unblocked defender to be coming in the A gap because that's less space that he's going to close to get to you. So you really got to pick which defender you're going to let be a free rusher here. And generally, the thought is that quarterbacks want that unblocked defender coming on their front side. So he chooses that he's going to work the trip side. So he slides protection right. So he's able to see the unblocked pressure.
Again, a simple numbers game here. You have 6, they're blocking 5. The quarterback is the 6th man. So you've got 5-on-5 for the Chiefs in coverage. Pretty good luxury to have guys that you trust here. And I don't know, maybe you can tell me this, Brett. I've been doing some studying in the offseason, and they talked about when it looks like there's birds on a fence post or birds on a power line, all those defensive backs lined up. A lot of times that's cover 0. A lot of times that is just man up across the board. And if that's the look that Russell Wilson gets here, you can kind of see those guys kind of line up in a line, the secondary. That's one-on-one all the way across the board.
Yeah, I know a lot of defensive coaches teach those guys to align at different levels, so it's not such a tell. But as you said, when they're all straight across there within a couple yards of each other, pretty high probability that you're going to get cover 0 there.
So one of those two guys is going to be free from the outside, as you said, because Russell Wilson slides his protection to the right. The free rusher is going to be Willie Gay. He does a really nice job here too.
Right. He does a good job, coming under control and being able to jump and get as big as possible with his hands, as opposed to running in and thinking I'm going to get a kill shot here. He knows that a veteran quarterback's probably going to try to get that ball out in that situation.
He does. Willie Gay comes off the edge, and there's the deflection. Justin Reid gets his first interception with the Chiefs. So, again, Reid finishes off the play, but this is a really good play by Willie Gay. Also, you got to give some credit, I guess, to not only the defensive players for the Chiefs, but for Steve Spagnuolo and him having some faith in those secondary guys that they can handle things one-on-one on the back end.
Yeah, he's so good with, not only the pressure design, and that's nothing special, from a design standpoint, but just when to bring them and, the execution. And, you see it right there. It's, disrupting, getting in the quarterback's face, getting a hand on the ball. And when you tip balls like that, good things happen from a defensive standpoint.
Again, 2 big interceptions by the Chiefs in this game helped lead them to a 19-8 victory. A big day for the defense when the offense wasn't itself, but still, that's the way the Chiefs have been winning games this year. A top 10 offense, a top 10 defense so far. Things have been pretty balanced for the Chiefs. That's a big reason they're 5-1, leading the AFC at this point in time.
Yeah, Jesse, with this, this of course won't be the only week, but it may be a lot more common that we're looking at this defense. I mean, from, the return on 6 games is, I think this is unquestionably the best defense that Spags has had in Kansas City, and possibly since Andy Reid's been here. I know Bob Sutton had a couple really good defenses statistically, that didn't get it done in the postseason, so it's a little bit tarnished. But I think this defense, just from being a complete defense, is the best that Andy Reid's had here.
Well, and you say Andy Reid, maybe more importantly, it's the best one that Patrick Mahomes has had. So you add Patrick Mahomes and that offense to what potentially this defense can provide. This could be a scary team coming down the stretch. We also kind of see usually the trajectory of the offense gets better late in the season. If that happens with these Chiefs, you add that to this defense, they might have something special here coming down the stretch in the playoffs. That's going to do it for the details this week for Jesse, or for Brett. This is Jesse. Be sure to tune in for another episode next week.